with spreadsheets in Google is starting to be much more common. Google Sheets are readily available for most users who have a Gmail account, or even if you have a different email account, sometimes you can get access to it. It's free up to a certain point, so it does have a little bit more availability for users than Microsoft Excel can have sometimes. But the challenge is that Google applications, while you can use them somewhat with ArcGIS, have challenges. There are a lot of predictive auto-formatting functions in Google Sheets that are hard to bypass. Even if you type in the actual format, it will still think it's something else. So there are a couple of tips and tricks that we can kind of use to get around that. Of course, the quickest way to do it is when looking at your data, you might see something kind of like this. So this column right here, I know from already mapping it, is that it will work correctly. So this is kind of the format we're going for. A month, day, and year, you actually have to write out the full year. So even if you only have 2 digits for your date, like 50 CE or 50 BCE, you still have to write the full year out, which can pose a couple of problems. So looking in our date 2 column here, and it even reformatted it again in our original date column, you can force it to say 0050 for 50 BC. And even if we type it in here, put 2 zeros and then hit enter, it always wants to reformat it. So one way we can kind of stop it from doing that is we'll again type 2 zeros in here. And then if you put an apostrophe right at the beginning of the number, it will actually preserve the formatting. And ArcGIS Online actually reads this just fine. It doesn't see the apostrophe in the data. It will just see the data type. So that's something to kind of know about. Even if you type the apostrophe in there, it won't mess with the data type in ArcGIS Online. The other thing to think about is that all of these dates should have the same formatting. So I've seen this happen in ArcGIS Online, especially with time maps, that if you have some dates that are just 1 month, 1 day, but in the same column you have the same date, but you have a 0 in front of it, sometimes it won't even read that date. It won't appear on the map. So I would suggest to make sure that all of your dates are formatted the same way. Now, even when we click on this, it says 01, but up here it's just 11. So it's doing that same thing of wanting to reformat it so it's 01 instead of just 1. We can do a quick test. If you select the whole column, go to Format, Number, and then select this time, date and time right here. That will actually auto-format it a little bit for us, so that will also work in ArcGIS Online. That shouldn't mess with the formatting at all, but it's always good practice to make sure that when you're going through that information, that all of your formatting is the same. Another quick way to test it is if you import it into ArcGIS Online and notice that dates are not showing up correctly, or they're showing not appearing on the map at all, but the formatting looks correct. So this is matching our column right here. Another way that you can test it to see what's actually going on is to open it as a CSV in a different program. So I'm going to open it in Excel, but you can actually open it in other programs to kind of see if something else is going on. So I'm going to remove this column first so it doesn't distract from what we're trying to do. And then I'm going to go File, Download, and Download as a CSV. Will probably show up if you open it as a text file as well. So if we click on it, we can see that there are these 2 dates right here that are just showing up as basically hashtags. And then when we pull the column out it's not actually showing correctly. It should show as this 12:00:00, but here it's actually 12:00, and then up here it shows as PM. So there's a lot of formatting that's going on in the background in Google Sheets that sometimes we just can't see on the program until we export it as a CSV and do some testing. This will also show up in ArcGIS Online. If you import it, you'll see that this first record will appear as either a 12:00 or a 12 p.m. and that will not show up correctly on the time bar. It usually won't even show the date or the point at all. So you want to make sure that all of the format is uniform. Worst case scenario, the only way I've managed to fix this is at the end, just export the entire spreadsheet as a CSV out of Google Sheets, and then just edit the CSV directly before you port it into ArcGIS Online. Then that will also kind of solve the problem. But these data management errors can be really difficult to pinpoint sometimes. Once you get that formatting settled, then it will appear on the time bar just fine.